Did you know that if you search the Bible and try to find a sermon that Jesus preached at a funeral, you can't find one? And the reason why is Jesus broke up. Jesus busted up every single funeral he ever encountered because the power that he has over death. We just celebrated Easter Sunday, that Christ destroyed death, that death now has no mastery over you, no power over you ever in your life because of Christ and what he has done for you. In Luke chapter 7, as Jesus was walking, preaching, and teaching, he encountered a funeral. It was the widow at Nain, and her only son had died. Now, 2,000 years ago, a funeral typically happened the same day or at latest the next day after someone died. Imagine how much harder that would have been for those who've lost a loved one. And so they would hire mourners, wailers, people that would make loud noise and cry so loudly so that people would know that someone died. Well, Jesus comes up upon this funeral and all the commotion, looks right at that widow, right in her eyes, and says, "Don't cry." How could he say that? It seems almost mean. Right there is her son, deceased, dead in a coffin, and Jesus looks at her and says, "Don't cry." Well, the reason he says it is Jesus knows his power. Jesus knows his strength. And in just a moment, he's going to raise that child from death to life. Jesus has power over death, both in the temporal and in the eternal. In the temporal sense, Jesus raised that boy from death to life and gave him back to his mother. But that boy was just going to die again. And so that's why Jesus didn't stop. He went to the cross. He stretched out his arms and nailed them, allowed them to be nailed to the cross to forgive that boy, to forgive you, to forgive me. Every sin, every wrong we've ever done in our lives. Jesus' lifeless body laid in the tomb, but then Jesus came out of that tomb to give the eternal blessing of life eternal. And so Jesus says to you, no matter what pain is upon you with the death of a loved one, he says, don't cry. Trust in me. Trust in my power over death. I will give you and all your loved ones who believe in me life eternal. If you've lost a loved one, how does someone comfort you? What words of encouragement do they point you to in God's holy word? What way do they give you hope and encouragement in your dark time? Please comment below. There's so many people that are hurting right now, and I know that your words can help encourage them as well.